Herkese merhabalar. Russell Group Üniversiteleri ile düzenlediğimiz webinar serimizin part 1'inde son aşamaya geldik. Bugün University of Liverpool temsilcimiz Brandon ile Liverpool Üniversitesi'nin Ocak intake'i, Eylül intake'i, üniversitenin kampüs imkanları, burs imkanları hakkında detaylı bir bilgilendirme webinarı düzenliyor olacağız. Brandon sunumu yaparken sormak istediğiniz tüm soruları yorum veya chat box aracılığıyla bize ulaştırabilirsiniz. Sunumumuz tamamlandıktan sonra da sorularınızı cevaplıyor olacağız. Hi Brandon, welcome. How are you? You are muted. We cannot hear you.
Apologies. There we go. You should hear me now. Is that okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Perfect. All right, good to see you today. How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
Good.
How's life in Liverpool right now?
Life in Liverpool is very good, but very busy as always. Lots of work to do.
All of us are trying to close the January cycle.
Exactly, yes. Lots to do before the end of semester on Friday.
Okay, great. If it's okay for you, we can start with the presentation and then move to Q&A session.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, happy to start then. And apologies to everyone for my dark camera. Nothing I can do about it right now.
No
problem.
So
let's get started then. Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody about the University of Liverpool today, with a slight focus on our January PGT Masters programs in particular for today. But I will give you a general overview of the university and all of the key information that you need to know. So let's get started. So this is what we're going to look at today. So I'll give you a very quick overview of the city of Liverpool, very famous city. I love living here. And then we'll look at the university itself, facts and study opportunities, including the January Masters programs. And then we'll look at the campus, facilities and so on. Then we'll look at accommodation, very important, very big question that people always ask me about. And then we'll look at the careers and sports services, in particular the careers, which is very, very popular with many students. Then we'll look at the tuition fees and scholarships, of course, very important. And then we'll look at guidance for students, for applicants. So this is for everybody, for undergraduates and postgraduates. And then also ways to stay in touch with myself and the university in general. So this is what we're going to do today. Okay, so just a kind of a starting point here. So world famous city and location. So for anybody who's not familiar, this is where we are based within the UK. So the city of Liverpool is centrally located, very close to Manchester and many other large UK cities, and it has very convenient access from Turkey in particular. I know this myself because I travel to Turkey often, and you can get direct flights to Manchester Airport, and then it's a short bus ride over to our campus in Liverpool. So it's very accessible. In terms of the city itself and what's actually here, so here's a bit of an overview of some of the attractions of the city. It is one of the largest cities in the UK, a population of 1.5 million. It's one of the most historical, but also one of the most modern cities in the UK, with some of the best shopping facilities in the country, some of the best clubs, bars, restaurants, cafes, some of the most historical architecture, some of the most beautiful riverfront scenery as well. We have two very famous football clubs, of course, Liverpool FC and Everton FC. And then we're also home of the Beatles, of course, very famous global icon. We have many famous museums, art galleries, and so on, which are usually free. And then also lots of great locations around the area as well, including parks, beaches, etc., and mountains over in Wales as well. So in terms of things to do in the city, around the city, and near the city, it's a really, really wonderful place to live and to study. And if you do come to study here at the University of Liverpool, trust me, you have plenty of things to do whilst you're here. Then if we move on, so this is a quick overview of where we are, because many people ask me, what is the campus location like? And is it a campus university or is it spread out? So the campus itself is fully integrated and it's right next to the city centre. So as you can see on the map on the right-hand side, all of our campus is located within one area, except for one undergraduate accommodation facility for undergraduates. That's off campus. It's just 10 minutes away. But the rest of the campus, everything else that you need, especially if you are a master's student, is all going to be located on our central campus right there next to the city centre. It takes 5 minutes to walk into the centre, so it's really, really convenient. And it's literally 5 minutes from the main train station, and you can get a train from there to London in 2 hours. So very, very convenient. You can also see on the map there's the Liverpool Airport is down the road from us, so it's only 20 minutes away. We've got a very large city centre, historical riverfront area, the docks, and then we also have the River Mersey, which is one of the biggest and strongest tidal rivers in the world, and it's also a famous cruise destination as well. So there's a lot of things happening in Liverpool. It's a very busy city. Okay, and now onto the university, which is why you're here today. This is the main attraction for today's presentation. So these are a couple of key facts. I don't want to bombard everybody with too many facts because there's lots of things we could say. The university has many famous historical facts to share with everybody, many awards that we've won and so on, accreditations. So what I've done here is just pick out the key things that I want to mention to everybody today. So the first one is our current QS Global Rankings, 165. We also have Times Higher Education rankings of 160. We're in the top 50 European university rankings and top 42 for sustainability. And we also have our recent Shanghai rankings, the ARWU rankings as well, where we scored many top 10 scores for particular courses, and we're in the 100 to 150 bracket for overall rankings as well. So lots of rankings within there. Obviously, as Rabia mentioned at the beginning, we are part of the Russell Group. So we are a founding member of the Russell Group. We've been part of it since it was created in 1994. So lots of history within the group. What does that mean for students in particular? Well, for postgraduate students, it means you get more access to very, very high quality research here at the university, which helps with your course and also opens up opportunities for yourself within that area. And that's not entirely exclusive to the Russell Group, but it's a much, much higher level within the Russell Group because of the world-leading research that we do here at the university. We also got the TEF Gold Award in 2023, which is a particular reference to undergraduate teaching. So it means we have the highest quality of undergraduate education in the UK. Now, for context, there are only 7 Russell Group universities that got this award in this year, 7 out of 24. So that means within this prestigious Russell Group, you get even the highest level of undergraduate education within that group. We also have a triple accredited management school. For those who are not familiar, it refers to the quality of the services and education and so on within a management school. Part of it refers to MBAs, but the rest of it refers to other parts of the management school. Now, university management schools can get 0 accreditations, they can get 1, 2, but 3 is by far the hardest level for any management school in the world. And there's not that many that actually have triple accreditation, and it's something we're very proud of. And it was recently renewed. I think it was last year. The accreditation was renewed again. So that means it's completely up to date, and it is a fantastic department to work in and study in. Also, in terms of history, so the university itself is over 140 years old. So we were founded in 1881 as the original red brick university here in the UK, part of the historic group of 19th century universities created in this country. And then lastly, in terms of investments, so we're currently investing over £1 billion in campus facilities. So what does that mean? We have a new architecture school that's under development. We have new accommodation that's been finished, a new law school that's been finished, new auditoriums that have been finished. So lots of investment has taken place on campus and continues to do so. So that means that you get to study in a prestigious, historical, world-ranked university, but it's also very modern as well. So you get the best of everything, basically. So that's a little overview. And if we go to the courses, I'm not going to go into this in too much detail because we want to focus on the January master's programs today. But I'll just give you a very quick overview of some of the standout programs that are popular with students, especially in Turkey. So, for example, we've got accounting and finance there and economics within our management school. You also see further down, we've got business and management, things like marketing, business analytics, and so on. All of these courses, MBAs as well. We have 2 MBA programs. They all fall within our management school, which is, triple accredited, as I mentioned, a wonderful place to study. We also have lots of fantastic engineering programs, and some of them have been available for the January start master's programs. One of the standout examples is aerospace, as you can see there. Now, why do I mention that? It's because we have really modern flight simulator facilities on campus. We also have commercial airline pilots coming to train with us. Students get to get their private pilot's license as part of their degree as well. That's an option. And we also have amazing connections with Airbus UK. So students get lots of really great practical industry experience, experience on campus. It's a really great program, and all of the engineering programs benefit from the same cluster of facilities as well, and the same industry connections. Another one I'll pick out is architecture as well. So we have one of the oldest architecture schools in the UK. It's over 100 years old, and we were the first UK university to ever offer an accredited architecture program in the UK. We also have RIBA, so the Royal Institute of British Architects. Now, they only have 2 offices in the UK. One is in London and one is in Liverpool. So if you want industry professional connections, if you're studying architecture, Liverpool's a great place to be. And then also for biological and biomedical sciences, along with all of our medical programs, we are a leading university in that area in the UK, highly ranked programs across the board, really, really modern facilities, access to some of the most advanced medical facilities in the whole of the UK, some of the newest hospitals in the UK as well, located right on our campus. And if I jump to the end as well, we've got veterinary sciences, which is also within that area. We also have a specific veterinary sciences campus, which I didn't talk about earlier because it's very special, very unique, but it's only for veterinary science students. And it's on the other side of the river. And that's where basically all the animals are, and all of the research, all the practical research goes on there. And we recently invested over £1 million in a new equine research facility over there as well. And now, if I pick out just a couple more examples, computer science and data science, for example, really standout programs, really great opportunities for students to develop their practical and kind of teamwork skills and so on within those areas, because students get to do lots of team projects and activities within those areas. And we have artificial intelligence, which has been added to several of our programs, including one for the January PGT programs as well. And then if I pick out just another couple of programs here, I'm going to go quite quickly here. I'm going to pick out law. So law, we have the oldest law school in the UK. So it's a really historical institution there itself, has links with the University of Law. So that gives students the opportunity to study not just Liverpool programs, but a range of national programs as well. I don't know if in the pictures here, but in some of the pictures on the slides, you get to see the interior of the new law school. So even though it's an historical building, historical school, it's got a brand new facility on campus. So you get access to, lots of historical research and so on that's been going on there, really high quality programs linked to the University of Law, and a really modern building as well. So these are some of the standout options that we have. I'll not go into too much detail about all of them because I could talk for many, many hours. So for now, I'm just going to keep this simple and end there. But if anybody does have any questions about a particular course or a general subject, please let us know and we can try and give you some more information. Okay. Now, this is a general overview of how the courses work. I just wanted to give you this overview so people can understand maybe the differences in the UK, for example. So at undergraduate level, these are the options that you generally have. So you can do a 3 years bachelor's degree. Of course, that's the standard in the UK. Or you can do a bachelor's degree plus a year in industry. So that means 3 years of study and 1 year of work. So that's a really great opportunity to build your career skills and also earn some money, which is obviously a great benefit. And then joint degrees. So you can do something like a 75-25 split or 50-50, like languages, computer science, game design. There's a variety of different options available for these split joint degrees. Then we also have the bachelor's degrees with languages included. So it's still 3 years, but you add language options to that as well. And then lastly, you have the integrated masters, which are usually in science and engineering courses, and they can be 4 to 5 years long. They can also include the year in industry as well. And then on the other side, postgraduate, which is more of the focus today. So we've got the standard 1 year master's degrees, which are the normal for the UK, just 1 year. Or in some cases, you can do a master's degree for 1 year and then do a year in industry for 1 year. So you stay in the UK for 2 years. But again, you get that experience of working in a relevant industry and you get to earn money as well. So it's perfect. And then lastly, for any students that are interested, we have several options at postgraduate research level. So we have PhD doctorates, of course, 3+ years, or MPhils as well, which are around 2 years long. But I think for most people today, they're probably undergraduate or postgraduate taught. So I'll just bear that in mind. Okay. And then if we go on to global opportunities and other options, so I'll just quickly do this. So in terms of study abroad, if any students are here today interested in undergraduate courses, there's many opportunities to study abroad. for example, in Canada, US, in Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, South Korea, China, many opportunities to study in other countries, including our campus in Suzhou in China, which is really close to Shanghai. So we have a dedicated campus over there in China, and that's the middle picture on the right-hand side there that you can see. We also have the UN industry that I talked about before. And of course, many of our students take advantage of the language courses as well. That includes modules that are inserted into your degree or a specially separate course, many different options available. The reason we talk about all of these options, is because internationalization is a very important part of your study experience here at the University of Liverpool, and also careers as well. So that's a thing we'll come back to later. But generally, it's about enhancing your broad skills, especially in terms of internationalization. Okay.
I have a question at that
Okay,
time.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
We always encourage students to apply the study abroad or year in industry options because they will gain the experience in the related field. So what about the fees for those types of programs?
So for the year in industry, it's a much, much smaller fee for that year. You don't pay full tuition fees, of course. So I think, as far as I know from the last time I checked, it was around £1,800 for the year in industry year. But you are earning full-time salary. So it balances out fairly nicely. And then for study abroad, I don't have the exact figures, but it's definitely less. It's quite a bit less compared to when you're doing your normal degree. So you're not paying your full fees for those years. Just bear that in mind. Okay.
Then the duration will be 1 more year with less than £2,000. It will be a great option for them.
Yes, definitely for the year in industry, yes. So it is definitely much cheaper. And the reason why you're paying whilst actually working is because you still come back to campus for meetings with your supervisor. So they basically help you through this kind of, it's like a work placement situation. Think of it like that way, because you work with the university to find a good company that's connected to the university to work in for your year and so on. But then you have to keep coming back, and the university will support you in the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Pastoral care. So basically making sure you're looked after as a student, and also making sure that your work experience is valuable for your future and ties into your degree as well. So that's why you still pay a smaller fee to maintain that support from the university and to maintain your student status, of course. That's the important thing. Okay.
Thanks.
I hope that answers the question. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. And then if we go to the next one, so this is the main thing to point out today for this presentation. So what we have here is the list of courses that are available currently, or have been, for January 2025. Now you'll see some of them are crossed off because they're no longer available, but some of them are still available. And the reason I wanted to show you the ones that are crossed off and not available is because if you are looking at this today, but you're thinking of applying maybe next year, you can see what kind of options will come up later, because we expect this list will probably grow a little bit more for next year. That's what we expect. So generally speaking, these programs fall into 4 different areas. So health, life sciences, engineering, computer science, and management. So we have a couple of programs that are quite special. So for example, the mechanical engineering programs at the bottom. Now they require an ATAS certificate, so they close a little bit earlier. They closed in November, but obviously they're still available for September 2025 if you want to do that. Then for the health and life sciences programs, as you can see, there's quite a few specialist ones there, like therapy and so on, radiography, orthoptics and so on. So these are all available earlier or in September. So just bear that in mind. And we also have the MBA programs as well. They run in January and September, so they will be available later. But in terms of what's available right now, we have a couple of really popular options. So marketing, always a very popular option with students. That's in our management school, so that's the triple accredited management school that's really high performing. Mastery Management, that's a really good option for any students who are interested in an MBA but maybe don't meet the requirements. So it's a similar degree, a similar well-rounded course for students who want to improve and develop their leadership skills in business field, but maybe don't meet the requirements for an MBA. So really good option there. Then we also have data science and artificial intelligence. That's a really, really, really popular course that's now been added. It's a recent addition anyway, and now it's been added to the January portfolio as well. So again, really popular program already, and within our computer science department, which is really cutting edge as well. We also have advanced manufacturing systems and technology as well, so that's another popular program. We have biomaterials and biomedical engineering. So that plays on our experience and skills in the engineering field, but also in health and medicine and so on. So two very core, standout, popular areas here at the University of Liverpool. And then lastly, sustainable civil and structural engineering. Again, engineering is one of our strongest areas, and anything with sustainability is something we're really focused on. At the university, we have a whole sustainability department. We have other programs that focus on sustainability as well, like sustainable architecture. So these are some of the really popular programs at the moment, and they are available for January 2025. But obviously some programs have already closed, but in general, all of these will be available again in September 2025. So if you're looking at this now thinking you've missed your chance, don't worry, you have another chance in summer next year. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, yeah, Rabia?
What about the conditions met deadline and cost request ones?
So basically all of this needs to be done basically from the 20th of December. We can only issue unconditional offers, so bear that in mind. Okay, so unconditional offers only from the 20th of December. 31st is the deadline for applications, and then all the CAS and so on needs to be done by the 2nd of January. So that's when everything needs to be done. Now, obviously, there's one caveat to add to that. If any students or any applicants are applying towards the end of December, they would probably need to apply for a priority visa. So just bear in mind that that would be a requirement. A student would need to do that. Obviously, we can't, cover any costs related to that, but students would need to bear that in mind if they are applying at this point. Okay.
In Turkey, it's really hard to estimate the visa decision date, so we always encourage them to apply for the priority visa.
Yeah, that's my general advice as well. If you can go for priority, do
Please
that.
do that.
It's less stressful, definitely. Cool. So like I said, obviously the application deadline is the 31st, but the deadline for everything else, the documents, CAS, etc., please aim for the 2nd of January, because obviously it's only a few weeks before the start of the semester, so there's not much time. If there's any delays, just please aim for the 2nd. That's really, really important. Okay. And if anybody has, oh yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. You are financially ready, so you put the money in the bank account and just 28 consecutive days, and you already have your English test results. So then we have still time to apply for the January course.
Exactly, yeah. So if you're prepared, yeah, if you're listening to this today and if you're not sure if you meet the requirements, please speak to Rabia's team and they'll be able to guide you through the whole process. Okay, it's always best to ask questions and make sure before making the application, but you still have time to make an application for these courses. Okay, right. Hopefully that answers all the questions about January. So if it's okay with you, Rabia, I'll move on to the next section. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. So for this one, I'll just talk a little bit about the campus. People often ask about the facilities and so on. So this is a little overview of what we have on campus. The reason I put these pictures here is to show that the campus is a mix of very modern buildings and also very beautiful traditional buildings. So when you're here, you get the true British experience from a campus university, but we get some really, really modern facilities. For example, in the pictures here, you've got health and life sciences, cutting edge facility there. You've got the very modern MBA building, the brand new law school, Yoko Ono Lennon Center auditorium, really famous auditorium here. And then we obviously have the quadrangle, which is historical, but is also the center for our modern engineering facilities. So it looks historical, but it's modern on the inside. And it's the same for the management school as well. And you'll see in the bottom, we've got the Guild Walk. Why have I included that? It's because there's lots of beautiful green spaces across the campus as well. So it's a lovely place to relax as well as study as well. And then if we have a look at places around the campus and the map and so on. So like I said, it's 5 minutes from the center of Liverpool, very convenient. We're currently investing over £1 billion in redevelopment across the campus. We have a modern sports center at the center of the campus, as well as our Guild, which is our students' union. That has a very affordable membership for students and very accessible, very conveniently located. We have two 24-hour libraries on campus. So one is in the green section on North Campus, and one is in the blue section, South Campus, both open to all students, of course. And then we have our specialist vets campus on the other side of the river. And then we have numerous different accommodation and food options spread across the campus as well. And I'll talk about accommodation in just a second, I think, maybe one of the next few slides. There we go. Cool. So in terms of accommodation, so the one thing to remember is that we do not have major shortages of accommodation or anything like that. There's plenty of rooms available across the campus for undergraduates and postgraduates. Some of the facilities are specifically for undergraduates, but most are mixed. So the first picture there is Greenbank Student Village. So that is 10 minutes on the bus from the campus. You get discounted bus fares because you live in this facility, so that's great. And this particular facility is a secure, safe, specifically undergraduate facility with lots of different buildings located in this private park, essentially. And they've got gym facilities, lounges, food, etc. Lots of things located in that particular facility. And it's also really close to some famous Beatles locations as well. So if you like a little bit of music and history, it's a great place to be. Then the rest of these options are generally mixed. So like Vine Court, Philharmonic Court, Crown Place, Dover Court, Melville Grove are generally mixed. So you'll see more undergraduates mixed around. You'll also see UK students as well. But I think some of these, for example, Dover Court and Philharmonic Court are more popular with postgraduate international students. So just bear that in mind. But all 5 of those are located on the campus or right next to campus. So if you are worried about travel costs or travel times, accessibility, all of these are on the campus. So it's very, very convenient. And the prices are all fairly similar, so it's more affordable. And that's one thing to remember about Liverpool. It's a big city, lots of things happening, Russell Group University, the prestige and so on, the history, but it's affordable living here. And I know myself, because I've lived in different cities, it is affordable living in Liverpool, and it's a great place to be as well. So if we take a look at the accommodation details, just a little bit of information here. So we benefit from having an award-winning careers team and accommodation team. In this case, the accommodation team are the ones that I work with quite often, and they're very, very responsive and they're very, very supportive. So if you have questions and you want to reach out to them as an applicant, they will be more than happy to assist you. The accommodation is available to undergraduates and postgraduates, so it's not limited, okay? And just make sure to apply as early as you can. But for January 2025, obviously there are places available and the move-in dates are flexible as well. But if you cannot find a room on campus, or if you're applying later, or for any reason, if you cannot get a room on campus, we would always strongly recommend looking at liverpoolstudenthomes.org, which is the website at the bottom. Now, this is essentially a company that all the universities in Liverpool work with, because there are 5 universities in and near Liverpool. So this is the one website where you can look for private accommodation off campus, and that's the only website we recommend. It's the safest place to look. If you are looking on campus, though, you can see what the kind of accommodation we have. You can see in the pictures the style of the accommodation and the facilities, and the prices generally are about £165 to £230 per month. So that includes your room. Usually it includes the bathroom as well. Of course, it's included there in the space. And it would also include things like your Wi-Fi, electricity, gas, and so on. So generally the bills are all included, and we always recommend to students go for the cheapest option, because the quality is always the same for all of the rooms. You don't need to go for a big room. These are all single occupancy rooms, so it's for one person, no families, just individuals. So go for the basic room. That's what I would do. It's no problem at all. It's all in the same buildings, same quality. Okay. And then in terms of food and so on, so people often ask these questions about food on campus. We have numerous different restaurants, cafes, supermarkets spread across the campus. They're kind of clustered mainly in 2 areas, so in the center and the south, and then in the north there's lots of different shops near the campus on London Road. But in the campus itself, we have numerous different supermarkets and so on available. So students have plenty of options when it comes to eating and cooking and so on. in all the accommodation, you have your own kitchens available, which you share with around 4 or 5 other students. So lots of places to go shopping and to eat, and nice facilities to cook in as well. So hopefully that answers all the questions about accommodation, but if anybody does have any detailed questions about accommodation, let me know, because I walk past these buildings every day, so I know enough about these buildings to let you know if there's any particular questions that you have. Okay. And then if we go to careers and services, mainly careers in this case. So we have an award-winning careers team, as I told you before. We've dedicated international support programs. So these were programs established by former international students with the support of the careers team. So really, really great team to work with, and they're very, very international focused. They also have amazing industry connections. So you see some of the names there at the top, like Google, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Airbus, Rolls-Royce, BA, etc. There's so many more companies than that list. That is just a couple of names that I took off to fit into that space. But really, there are so many international companies that we work with. Companies are based in Liverpool, nationally in the UK, internationally. There's just so many connections here at the university. And what does that mean for you? It means you get access to them through networking events, careers fairs, jobs fairs, lots of different activities, events taking place on and off campus, virtually, etc. So you get access to this very, very high quality network of industry connections, which is partly as a result of being part of the Russell Group. That's part of it. But it's also just a case of the industry connections that our careers team and departments have built up as well. So you get to tap into that, because the purpose of these connections is to help you guys. That's the whole point of it. We also have really specialist face-to-face support for students. So I've not mentioned this before. This is another thing. So we have our career and digital coaches. So they are trained staff and students who help students with their career development, skills development. It's free. You do not need appointments. You can simply walk into our career studio at the center of the campus, and they will give you support. So it's a really wonderful facility, and it's a really wonderful team as well. And then lastly, top 25, well, actually it's top 20 now, but top 20 universities sought after by international companies. What does this mean? It means those big companies, they want to work with us, and then they want to work with you in terms of hiring you after university. So that's a really helpful part of this process. You never need to really go and look for companies. Many of them will come to campus to find you, basically. Okay. Then if we go on to the next pages, so fees and scholarships, obviously very important. So this is a general overview of what we offer. I've condensed this into the smallest possible space, so if anybody has any detailed questions, please let me know. But generally speaking, for undergraduate level, the scholarship offer is £5,000, which is £3,000 in year 1 and £1,000 in year 2 and year 3. So that is our offering at undergraduate level. Students are required to have certain grades and maintain those good grades, but that's it basically. So if you meet the requirements like that you can get the scholarship. In terms of postgraduates, so we've condensed this into a new system now. So £5,000 is a scholarship for about 30 different courses. So for this one, it's fairly standard. I think this one is the same with the grades. So if you just have a decent grade overall, then you should get this scholarship. But the details have changed recently, so it's worth checking on the website because they're evolving into next year. And then lastly, there's a 2-part scholarship. So that's £2,500 plus £2,500. One of them is based on country and one is based on your GPA. Now, the good thing is Turkey has been added to this list. So now for the country part, I'm glad to say everybody should qualify for that if you're applying for a master's from Turkey. For that one, you do not need any other requirements. It's just 2,500 based on your country, Turkey. And then for the other part, it's based on your GPA. So if you have a high GPA, you can get the second part of the scholarship. And that one is based on 145 different programs. Now, bear in mind, we have around 200 or so master's courses at the university. So from this list, it's about 175 different courses are covered by one of the different scholarships. So that means that you have plenty of choices. Okay. If anybody does have detailed questions about this, maybe they can reach out to your team, Rabia, and they can reach out to me as well if anyone wants to learn the specifics, because we've recently updated some of this information and moved the courses around. And I definitely cannot remember 145 courses in my head. So if anybody does have any questions, please let us know.
We always trying to share the last updates and new scholarship
Sure.
opportunities in
Sure.
our social media channels as well. So if you want to just check like management scholarship, you can always first come and check the university website, and plus you can also check the SIUK Turkey social media channels.
Exactly. Yeah. Always have a look at those sources, definitely. And then the last one I mentioned there is the Management School Awards. So this has not really changed. It's been condensed differently. So it used to be 30%, 75%. It's 50% now for more students. So it's more accessible. So for this one, it's a 50% scholarship discount for master's students in our management school. But it is based on good GPAs, it's based on experience, it's based on a strong application, basically. So if any students here today are interested in one of our management courses, and that's quite a range of courses, actually, a lot of different options, these are a possibility, but bear in mind it's GPA, but also your experience. So I'd recommend any students who are interested in this, please think about what professional experience you have, writing a strong personal statement letter, and also very strong reference letters from previous employers, from university, and so on. But overall, there's no extra application needed, as it mentions at the bottom. So you do not need to give a separate application. Okay? It's your standard application, and it's judged on the quality of the overall application. Okay. We also have other opportunities. So one thing I will mention is that the University of Liverpool has an agreement with the Turkish Ministry of Education for sponsored students at postgraduate master's level. So that is another option. You would need to apply directly to the Turkish Ministry of Education. So I'm losing my voice today. You would need to apply directly to the ministry for the funding. I believe you do that first, and then you can apply to the University of Liverpool. Okay, but again, because that's very Turkish specific, again, Rabia's team will be able to give you more detailed advice in Turkish on how to approach the application with the Ministry of Education in Turkey. Okay, so that covers everything, I think. So then if we go on to the fees, so this is a general overview of the fees. As it mentions in the top right corner, the fees for each course are listed on their pages. So please refer to that as the definitive answer for these questions. But generally speaking, these are the fees for our courses. So for most students here, they're probably looking at undergraduate or master's courses. So it's around 24 to around just over 30,000. MBA is around 33,000. Most other courses are just a little bit lower than that. Some specialist courses may be a little bit over 30,000 in engineering, but it's usually just under 30,000. And then obviously medical courses, clinical courses are more expensive as well. So that's a general overview. But like I said, each course has its own fees, which are listed on the individual course pages. Okay. And then if we go on to applications and requirements, so this is the general process. So for any undergraduate students, so bear in mind that everything's done for undergraduates on UCAS, so that's the University Admission System for the UK. If anybody has any questions about the UCAS process, Rabia's team know all about it, probably more than me, so they can guide you through the whole process. So the applications for undergraduate actually start in May for the next year. Early deadlines for Oxford, Cambridge, and clinical medical programs is October. Then the standard UCAS deadline is January, but international students can still apply until June. So you've not lost your chance. If you're in January and you're still not sure, you can still apply later. Then obviously you get your exam results around the summer approximately, and then the semester starts in September or the end of September. For postgraduates, obviously there's two options here. So I've put January or October. So the applications for January opened in January last year, or this year, sorry. And that then for October, that would be for next September. The international deadline is December, obviously, for the courses for January, or it's July for any courses that start in September next year. Then for exams, obviously they tend to come in the summer anyway, whichever time you start your course. And then for the course start date, obviously it starts in January or September. So that's the general overview of how it works. And hopefully that fits into most people's timelines, but this is just a general overview of how it normally works for most applications at undergraduate level and postgraduate level. Okay. And then if we go on to requirements, so this is obviously kind of geared towards Turkish qualifications. So for any students here who are applying for undergraduate level, so A-levels, IB, AP, etc., these are the standard qualifications that we'd normally look for, usually AAA to triple B, but there is a lot of flexibility. It depends on the particular course. These have not changed recently. These are pretty standard. So Rabia's team are able to help you with this because they're very familiar with all these requirements. Obviously, for some degrees, there are certain specific requirements. So, for example, if you're doing a science engineering course, you would need to have done science courses before, or mathematics, or both. And then for Turkish qualifications, the most important thing, I think, is that we do accept the Lise Diplomasi from numerous schools in Turkey. It's quite a long list now. So the most important thing is to ask Rabia's team if your school is on the list. The reason it's not published online for any reason is because the list evolves. So we add new schools to the list. So it's very important to get in touch with us directly or through Rabia's team to know if your school is on the list. And the general requirement, generally speaking, is around 75%. For some specific courses or some elective classes, they would require maybe 80% in some things. But generally, it's 75%. And we do accept the Lise Diplomasi from quite a few schools across Turkey. But please do ask us if you're not sure if your school is on the list. But of course, if your school is doing IB, and if you are doing IB or AP, for example, or A-levels, if that's possible, usually IB, then that will be allowed for direct entry. Okay. For anybody who does not meet those requirements, so if unfortunately your school's not on the list, for example, you could consider doing a foundation program here at the university. We work with Kaplan. They do their foundation programs on campus, but we also accept other foundation courses as well, such as NC UK and so on. So it's worth considering those. If you do not meet the direct requirements, you could also consider a foundation program as well. So that's for undergraduate. And then for master's level, so generally we need the equivalent of a 2.1 degree, which is similar to a 3.0 in international sense. Forgive me whilst I take a drink, sorry. So generally speaking, it's around 3.0 GPA or around maybe 75%, but there is a little bit of flexibility. So if you're not sure, please let us know. I know Rabia's team often contact us about students and grades and so on. So please do ask if you're not sure if your grades meet the requirements. So forgive me, I'm talking too much today. My voice is going. Apologies. And then also for the English requirements. So generally speaking, students would need to have around IELTS 6.0 or maybe 6.5, but we do accept different English tests. So for example, TOEFL or Duolingo, we do accept. The requirement is around 120, and there's numerous Pearson courses and many other courses that we accept as well. All of this is listed on every single degree course page on our website, so you can see the exact requirements for each individual course. Okay, but generally speaking, the GPA requirement's around 2.1, but actually there's some flexibility now. So students who maybe are not quite 3.0, we can still consider your application as well.
We have one related question.
Okay, yeah.
Could you please provide details about the fees for the pre-sessional? First, I should ask that, do you have pre-sessional courses?
Yes, we do, yeah. So I can't remember the exact fees. I think it's between 6 weeks and 40 weeks. So there's several different options. I think 10, 20, and 40 weeks. And the length of the course is based on obviously your English level at the beginning. So if you're not sure, obviously it's better to apply earlier to make sure you get the right level, the right course. I can't remember the exact fees. I think the longest one might be over £10,000, something like that. I think for the 40-week course, because that's basically a full year of study, basically. But we can follow up later to give you the exact fees for those courses. But the thing to remember is that it's something like 6 10, 20, and 40-week courses
Is
available.
it online or on
Say again, sorry?
campus? Is it online or on campus? Do you have both options?
Yeah, so we have both options, but not for every single one. So I think for the shortest ones, it's only on campus. And for the middle ones, like 10, 20 weeks, I think they're the ones that can be done online as well. So there are mixed options available. It's basically a case of matching up. Do you want to be in Liverpool on campus? And what is your current English level? So matching those two things basically. But there are several different options on campus and virtually as well. So yeah, a few different options there. But if anybody wants to know the exact details, let me know. We can follow up later as well.
If they want on-campus pre-sessional, can they have the integrated cost letter, or they should just come first for the pre-sessional?
Okay. I have to double check, but I think if they do come for the course on campus, I think that's when you can get your the combined CAS, I believe. I think that's the case. But I'd recommend let us know afterwards so we can just double check. But I think if you are on campus, I think that is the case, I believe. But please do reach out and let us know if you are definitely interested, and we can confirm. But I believe that is the case if you're here.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Cool. And then if we go to the next page then, so this is very close to the end now. So just in terms of staying in touch. So for any students that want to learn more about the university, you can follow our international team online on social media at Live Uni Global. You can also chat to our international student ambassadors on our website. So there are designated students who are from many different countries. They do different courses, different levels, and they're able to talk to you one-to-one about any questions you have. And you can simply do University of Liverpool chat to students, search in Google, and you can find it really easily. Obviously, you can visit our country pages. So we have our Turkey page on the website. So if you just go into University of Liverpool International, you can find Turkey on there. And then obviously you can request a one-to-one discussion about us, so about your application. So you can email us at the email address down there, and you can let us know. And through Rabia's team, obviously, I'm able to provide any guidance, assistance that you need. And then obviously you're free to welcome the campus. Sorry, you're welcome to visit the campus. So I can't even speak today. So you're welcome to visit us. And if you want to have a guided tour, so either myself or one of our staff or one of our student ambassadors can show you around the campus. So it's our pleasure to welcome you. And then last thing is to remember, if you are applying, it's through UCAS or through the website. If you're going through Rabia's team, of course, it's exactly the same. It's the same system. So just bear in mind that it's done virtually online, whichever way you do it. Okay. And then lastly, I'll just go to the next page. So if you do want to stay in touch with us, you can scan the QR code there. That just gets our contact form. So from there, you can obviously keep in touch with me. And obviously, this is the way that we kind of coordinate with Rabia's team as well. So everybody is in touch with everybody at the same time. Okay. Right. I think that is everything. All done. So
Great.
If you're happy, we can move on to questions then.
Yes, I can start with my question.
Okay, sure.
Why they should choose Liverpool over London?
Why would students choose Liverpool over London?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Good question. I would always choose Liverpool over London. The reason is that you get all of the experience of what you want in London, so the culture, the history, the city life and everything, the British culture and everything, all these things. You get all of that in London, but you get it in Liverpool as well. It's just in a smaller space, but you get the same options and it's a cheaper cost of living whilst you're here. So London, London's a fantastic city to be in, but it's extremely expensive to live there. You often find that the accommodation is often far from your university. So you have to spend lots of money on transport, for example. There's lots of fantastic universities in London, of course, Russell Group and other universities, but then the University of Liverpool is also part of the Russell Group. So you get the same experience overall in Liverpool and London. No massive difference except for the size, but it's obviously going to cost you less. And I noticed that myself as somebody who's lived in different cities and different countries. The cost of living is very noticeable. So you get the quality of the life and the academic experience, but it's not going to cost you as much.
You just mentioned 165 per week for the accommodation prices in Liverpool.
Yes.
When we compare with the London prices, it's really cost effective.
Yes, and also there's no transport costs. That's one thing to mention. So you can live on campus, and the food costs are generally cheaper here in Liverpool as well. So if you do your own shopping, for example, or even if you go for any dinners in restaurants, for example, it's going to generally cost you less. So it's definitely affordable.
Mhm. We have one undergrad applicants. Let me just read the question. I am currently in 11th grade in Sınav High School in Turkey and following the Turkish curriculum only. If I apply for an undergrad program, do I need to take extra preparation courses or meet specific requirements? Will my Turkish education to be considered? Actually, you covered that. If the
Yes.
high school name is on your accepted Turkish high school lists, then they can be offer holder for the first year one.
Yes.
But for the rest, if they are not in your list.
So if they're not on the list, then we'd recommend doing a foundation program. That's probably the case for many universities, similar to Liverpool in the Russell Group. So if your school is unfortunately not on the list, we'd recommend doing a foundation program. There are different options available. Like I said, Kaplan is a big one that we are officially connected to. So they have the International College here on campus in Liverpool, but we do accept other options, for example, from like NC UK, for example. So there are different options available. So I'd recommend just do a little bit of research, but also make sure, double check if your school is on our list or not, because we do have a fairly long list of schools, so it may be on there. It's worth just double checking, and I'd recommend do that via email. So check with Rabia's team. Rabia can check with me. I know I got an email about this morning actually from you. So there's another similar question there. Please do ask us about the school and then look into the foundation options after that.
You can always double check with the SIK Turkey team.
Exactly.
I guess we covered all the questions.
Okay, perfect.
It was so effective for us to welcome in the webinar series with Russell Group Universities. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, let me close in Turkish.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yep.
Russell Group Üniversite webinar serimizin part 1'ini University of Liverpool webinarımızla beraber de tamamlamış olduk. Süreç boyunca destekleriniz ve katkılarınız için çok teşekkür ederiz. Ocak ayında Part 2 serimize devam ediyor olacağız yine Russell Group üniversitelerimizle. Bu süreçte Liverpool Üniversitesi hakkında tüm sorularınız ve birinci sınıftan kabul alıp alamayacağınız, ara-intake için henüz vaktinizin olup olmayacağı konusunda evraklarınız, burs süreçlerine kadar tüm detaylar için SIUK Türkiye uzman eğitim danışmanları ile iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Bizi sosyal medya kanallarımızda takip edebilir. Sorularınızı dilerseniz ofisimizi arayarak, web sitemizi ziyaret edip form doldurarak veya bizzat yeni merkezimizdeki Torrent Center Şişli de veya diğer farklı şehirlerimizde de ofislerimizi ziyaret ederek yapabilirsiniz. Katılımlarınız için çok teşekkür ederiz. Bir sonraki webinar serimizde görüşmek üzere. Thank you so much, Brandon. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for having me. See you. Bye bye.